Hello, everyone.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Silas, and this is The Adventures of Kayla and Silas, a podcast about everything travel. Each week, Kayla ruins the episode by cooking something in the middle of it. Do you have any more to do with it, or are you just taking them out? You just taking them out?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We'll start over. It's okay. You decided it was time for muffins, so.
I meant to make those muffins like 8 different times.
Sure.
Now we have muffins.
Hello, everyone.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Silas, and this is The Adventures of Kayla and Silas, a podcast about everything travel. Each week, we cover travel topics that we find interesting and that we hope you will, too. This week, we have a very exciting guest. As usual, most of our guests are exciting, and this one is particularly exciting because he's the guest on the show today. His name is Lyam, and he is from London and has his own YouTube and blog presence online. You can find him under Life is a Dream. But without further ado, Lyam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me on here, and hopefully I can spread some good joy and get some other people out there traveling, jumping into it. So.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're about today. So, first off, let's jump right in with tell us a little bit about yourself and your travel background. We want to get to know you as a person.
Yep. So starting with how I started traveling, I would take it back to like 2 years ago. I kind of decided on a Wednesday that I was going to go around Europe, and on the Friday I was getting off the ferry to Roscoff in France. Just
cool.
Up and left, told no one. Rang my parents when I was halfway across the sea, asking them to pick my car up from Plymouth, which is a small town based down in the bottom of the UK. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was on the way to France. Kind of
That's awesome.
Fell in
That's
love with
crazy.
Yeah. Changed quite a lot in my life. But
So what were you doing? What were you doing before that? You were working, you were doing something, you just decided to drop everything and go travel?
Yeah, the typical 9-to-5 job, doing labouring. I still do that now, as in when I'm not travelling, to make money to travel.
Yeah, exactly. We all have to do something, right?
Yeah, we do. But yeah, just kind of fell in love with it and started by walking. Started walking.
That's super cool. I've read a couple of your blogs and watched some of your videos, and you've done lots of very interesting hitchhiking and other just adventure trips, different places. Before we jump into all of that, I like your name for your blog and for your YouTube page, Life is a Dream. And if you can just tell us a little bit about how you came to that. We came up with The Adventures of Kayla and Silas. It's pretty straightforward. You know what you're going to get there, but Life is a Dream, I really like that title.
So the main meaning behind it is I want my life to be like, everyone has that dream. So I want my life to be the dream that obviously I want. And pretty like self-explanatory, obviously, like I just said. But before all of that, I jumped around different names, and couple was Travel by Any Means. And then I realised that was kind of a spin-off from a documentary that I later realised. So I was like, yeah, I've got to change this. And then, come up with Life is a Dream. That's what I want my life to be.
Super catchy. I like it a lot. So you've done a lot of travel throughout Europe. Where all have you been to?
So France, Belgium, Germany, Holland, Slovenia, Austria, Croatia.
Wow.
Going to Switzerland in 8 days.
Oh, wow.
And then Budapest in December, hopefully.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's Europe.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Have you traveled outside of Europe yet?
Yep, I've done a month in India at the beginning of the year, which I didn't even touch the sides on that. Such a big country.
Yeah.
Done a tour with G Adventures, and I kind of thought I didn't really want to go there, just and wing it on my own. bit of a different background there. So
Mm-hmm.
went with a tour group and done a bit of Canada when I was younger, and Ireland. Yeah, shoot a bit.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's a lot. That's a lot of popping around. We've personally looked at India, and it is not if you say you're going to India for a weekend trip, you're not really doing India. You're just kind of
No, I don't even think a month. But I agree
No, a
with you.
month,
It would be
it was
easier, like with a more organized tour.
Yeah, definitely. I don't like being organised. I like kind of making it up as I go. And so personally, I wouldn't again. But for somewhere where you haven't been or somewhere like that, I do recommend doing it, especially if you're traveling.
Maybe for your first couple weeks.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that. I like that style of travel. It is intimidating to a lot of people, and that's actually our next question right on here is what type of travel do you tend to do, and how do you categorize your preferred style travel? It sounds very spontaneous.
Yeah, that would pretty much just sum it up. Just that one word is spontaneous. Would just sum me up because like I said, I prefer if you meet someone or a group of people and they're going somewhere else. Well, if you've got a plan ahead, you can kind of like ditch those plans and go wherever they was going.
Yeah.
I'm very off the cuff type of traveling. I'll book a one-way flight and that's about it. Figure it out. Hitchhiking.
Yeah, it definitely keeps your travel stories super vibrant because there's not I mean, especially when I know this is something that we run into when we talk to family and friends about where we're going. Oh, we're going to go here. And sometimes we'll have a loose itinerary or a more detailed itinerary depending on the circumstances.
Yes.
And so we're saying, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited. And we come back and they say, how was your trip? And we say, great. We did X, Y, and Z. And so the stories from the before and after sound almost identical. We get to say, yes, it actually was fun rather than we hope it will be fun. But if you just take off and go and run into some people,
what you're doing.
Yeah, then you come back and people are like, what did you do? And you're like, well, let me tell you, I have a huge story. These guys and those people and super cool. So you've done a lot of travel from lots of different places. What would you say are some of your favorite destinations that you've been to, and not necessarily limited to the European adventures you've had recently, but throughout your whole travel experiences?
Throughout the whole, India would definitely be number one because it was such a culture shock. But you've got to go there with an open mind, and you've got to just kind of like embrace it, just jump headfirst in, and then Slovenia, specifically Lake Bled. I've been back there 3 times already. And I just love it. Just so peaceful, relaxing. But that would be the top two.
I guess what are some of the big things that you did in those 2 places that really made you fall in love with traveling there?
Slovenia is, when I've always gone there, it's mainly just been like out in the nature, or in the mountains, all of that type of thing. And it's kind of always been at like the end of my trip. So I've been going through cities, and then I've just had that time just to relax and just enjoy it and sit back for a week. So that's probably the main reason. And I'm a very outdoors type of person. And then India, like I said, just the culture. And I find with a lot of countries nowadays, media, they'll portray like there's this certain thing about a certain country, but until you actually go there and embrace it, you don't know, and most of the time it's wrong. That's what I found.
Yeah.
Or it's oversimplified.
Oh, absolutely. We completely agree. We were just talking with I had a business dinner the other night with some clients for videography. I do that on the side, and it came up talking about cultures. Somebody in the group had traveled a ton, grew up traveling, grew up moving around the world, and we started having this very similar conversation where I was like, it's super important for people to travel and to experience firsthand other cultures, because you're right, the media gets it wrong a lot of the time. So it's not a full picture. The media only has the opportunity to share with you in less than 5 minutes what the idea is that they're trying to convey, and you can't explain or paint a picture of an entire culture in that amount of time. And so you get very very pinholed amounts of information that aren't helpful.
I feel they're only ever going to show what they want you to see anyway as well. So
absolutely,
you can't really know what's true and what's not unless you do it yourself.
Well, and people are individuals, so
right.
Yeah.
Even if you could generalize for a nation, you're still going to find so much diversity within that country.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Very cool. This got very deep very all of a sudden. Right there. Just jump right into solving all the world's problems.
Philosophy of humanity.
Yeah. Watch out. This show covers a lot, people. If you're listening right now, you're gonna get a lot of information today. Next up in our line of questioning, as we just rapid fire these at you.
Just chuck them my way. It's fine.
What do you love most about travel?
What do I love most? The range of people that you meet would probably be my number one. Number two, I don't know why. I just love it. As soon as I started doing it, it was something I was always meant to do.
Yeah.
Like at home, I never feel at home. Doesn't get bored really quickly. And as soon as I got to book another flight, I've got to be on the move.
Yeah.
But pinpointing something completely why I love it, it's hard.
Having that, it sounds just like the thrill of the adventure. And there's not a lot of adventure in day to day.
No, there isn't.
Not really. No. It's something that is, and you like to travel a lot too. And there are a lot of people that we talk to who are, don't have, it sounds like you have a very high threshold for adventure, which is super cool. And there are a lot of people who don't have that high of a threshold, right?
Like I have cousins, for instance, who travel, but to them, that just means they go to a beach once a year to the same resort.
To the same resort. They'll go to a resort and they're like, we got to travel this year. Like it definitely is a style of travel. And
style of travel.
Yeah.
I personally call it tourism.
Some people really, but really, I think it comes down to your own personal threshold for adventure and what adventure means to you. And so when you look at that and you go, wow, that was a big step for me to go out of the country, even if it is to a resort. Well, that's a stepping stone to maybe a bigger adventure down the road. But, for you, your story is very unique that on a Wednesday you said, I think I want to go travel. And then on Friday you were gone. That's incredible.
It's something that was building up for a while, and then just kind of, I was always the type of person like, oh yes, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But I always found an excuse. And then one day it was like, I'm gone.
No more excuses. It's time to just pull off the Band-Aid, jump in. Yep.
Yeah.
Super cool. Well, this is the part, this next question though, I feel like can go on. And so we might have to cut you off at some point so that we can get to eating the brownies that Kayla decided to make right in
They're muffins.
The muffins right at the beginning of the podcast. So what are some of the funniest / craziest travel stories that you have in your arsenal? And really, no holds bar here. Just tell us everything.
I'll start with, obviously you guys have heard of couch surfing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. I haven't done that yet, but we've talked about it.
Such a good experience, or it can be. I obviously messaged the guy on there, and it came out there was nudists. So
Okay.
rocked up in Belgium. Not the door. Sorry, I rang him first, and he was like, "I'm still at work. Keys by the door." But I've walked in. Next thing, there's like this random guy just walking around, swinging freely. And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "I've just like I do with most things, jumped in, put the bags down, kit off."
So wait, that wasn't on his profile?
It
No, it
was.
Oh,
It was on his profile. It says if you are staying, he prefers if you just like embrace it and kind of live
Yeah,
that
got it.
lifestyle for that period of time.
Why
Then
not?
it was probably me jumping to conclusions, but I assumed when he said a couple, it was like him and his wife. It wasn't, and it was So it was a gay couple. Which, That's fine anyway. And it was just the fact of not being told. So then we come in, and by the end of it, there was 5 guys sat around the kitchen table, eating dinner that he had cooked, playing Scrabble, but completely stark naked.
that's awesome.
But it's definitely an experience that I will probably do it again. To be fair, I'll probably stay with him again. He's good lad. And then from that, I met a Greek guy that I carried on hitchhiking with, and we ended up on the autobahn and so first we got picked up by the cops, and they took us back into the city, and he was like, "We need to get away from the city. You can't hitchhike and get out of there very easily." And then we've gone back onto the autobahn. Straight away got picked up by some guy. He's like, "Oh, I can't go across the border." And we was like, "All right, seems a bit dodgy in itself. We couldn't go through the toll and when the cops everywhere. We've gone down this back lane." And then the next thing is like, "Do you smoke weed or do MDMA and all this type of stuff?" And then it comes out, "Yeah, I got out of prison 2 weeks ago."
Oh gosh.
We're just like, we're in the middle of nowhere now, and we just got to just take it, just sit in the car and see what happens. So he's gone down these dirt lanes, and we're bricking it, absolutely bricking it now. And he's like, "Oh, 2 minutes, locks the door, gets out," and he goes to it's just looks like an abandoned farmhouse thing. He comes back out and goes,
gosh.
"Yeah, this." And we thought, "Oh yeah, he's only gone to pick up a small amount, 150 grams of all this stuff." And we're like, "Oh my god."
Oh my
Go for
gosh.
a head. "Oh my god, are we gonna end up mules?" And it's just so dodgy. But in the end, yeah, what he was doing.
Did he ask you to hide any of it for him at any point?
No. He
Okay.
took us back to his mate's house and that, and was like, "Yeah, you stay here, we party." So we'd free drink all night, and then he took us 3 hours all the way to Amsterdam the next day. But
Wow.
at that initial time when you're in the car, it's you can't even describe the feelings. It's just
This
I
is
might be in prison soon.
yeah, this is how I die. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably the 2 most strangest things that happened on the road.
Oh
That's
gosh.
funny. Do you
So-
always
so
hitchhike
far.
with someone else?
No, meet people on the road, normally do it on my own, and then just meet other hitchhikers.
That would make me so nervous.
To hitchhike by yourself.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I don't
Couch
know.
surfing, not so much, because there's
It's
an
organised,
online
though.
profile and you can rate people and stuff.
yeah. You don't always have to get in the car. That's what I say to people as well.
Yeah.
They might stop, but if you kind of get that gut feeling, you don't have to get in the car.
Right.
I've never turned down a lift though.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to get in the car. I'm going to. So I'll see
Yeah,
you
I'm
later. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, gosh, those are some pretty crazy. Can you also jump into the story that you outlined? Because you wrote a blog post recently about that another hitchhiking experience.
Yeah, the band there when we got left behind.
Yeah. What was? Yeah. Tell us that story, because that story just seemed out there. Also,
We started so it was on the Croatian coast near a small camp at Camp Thomas, and we've been waiting for must have been nearly 2 hours in total. These guys pulled up. He was like, "Yeah, finally, something stopped." It's like 30 degrees.
yeah.
Ran out of water already. So we got in fine, and everything was like going all good. We thought we'll stop at the next town, get water, fuel the car, and right. But yeah, that sounds like a plan. And after that stop, they got back in. There were three other guys, and then obviously me and who I was traveling with, and they just kind of, it was just being suspicious, and it might have been at that time. I thought, oh no, it's probably just a language barrier, so you feel a bit more nervous, and it was like whispering and then laughing, and just kind of put me like off guard and that.
Yeah.
And then we stopped at another town. It was like 25 kilometers away from Zadar, and they was like, oh, we got to find a friend or something. So we've done like a couple laps of the block, and then I eased off, and I was like, this isn't right. And so the travel partner eased off as well. We sat by the car then, the bag was still in the car. But I'm not going to get dicks walking around this block, and then they go off with everything.
Yeah.
And then so we sat there for about another hour, and
Oh my gosh.
I was just like everything's just going through your head, like, oh, what if this, what if that, and
Oh man.
trying to like picture out all these different scenarios. Finally, he come back and he's like, oh, I got to take my friend. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I was like, nah, I'll take my bags out first, thanks. And he was like kind of shocked, like giving me that shocked look that I was asking, like I didn't trust him. So once we took the bags out, and then he was like, I'll be back in 10 minutes, and we left it half an hour because I'll always give someone the benefit of the doubt, and he might have been genuine, but gave it half an hour. I was like, nah,
He's not going
I'm not
back.
waiting any. He's not coming back. And
Oh my
by this time it was like 5:30, and he was like, we could either carry all our stuff like 2 or 3 miles, walk up to the autobahn, which we didn't really know which way it was anyway.
Yeah.
But in the end, we booked an Uber and spent like £50 on an Uber to get to the
gosh.
city. But I was like, I'd rather get there and
I've done that before.
do it. So,
Yeah, you.
yeah, that's a short story. But
We that happened to me one time and did we just talked about this last week on the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of your
One of my
travel nightmares.
Travel nightmares where
Yeah.
this my girlfriend at the time, she decided that she wanted to we had to take a bus from the airport to Frankfurt because we did Ryanair, so it was a long bus ride. It was like an hour bus ride. Well, we were talking, we weren't really paying attention to where we were at, and we thought we got off the bus in Frankfurt. And I was like, let me just ask to make sure we're getting off at the right place. And she said, no, don't ask. That will be embarrassing. And
normally it's the blokes that are like that.
I'm like, why? I need to ask. We need to make sure we're getting off of the right place because we don't want to get off in the wrong town because that would suck. And then we got off 30 minutes still away from Frankfurt. And the bus was €3 to get €3 to get from the airport to Frankfurt. £3. That's it. And
the taxi
the
ride.
taxi ride from where we were at was €100. And I think I said 90 last week, but like 90, €100. And it was ridiculous. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. That's not good at all.
So
Always better to ask.
Always better to ask.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
So when you're doing this travel, especially with hitchhiking, are you planning out a lot of times where you're going to stay, or are you hoping to like essentially stay with whoever you're riding with?
No, I'll try and plan ahead, and then I just like wing it. I'll use HitchWiki a lot of the time for like popular places where other people hitchhike, and they'll give reviews of how quick and how easy it was to get there from there.
Huh.
I'll normally if I can, I'll get like a bus outside of the city or outside of town, like so you're right on the motorway or the highway, that type of thing.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier. Accommodation, if I get a couch surf, I'll couch surf, or I'll get a hostel. If I turn up somewhere late, I've slept in bus stations, train stations, tram stations.
oh yeah,
abandoned houses.
oh wow,
like abandoned buildings, that type of thing. Rough on the street. So it's just like a couple of hours.
Do you ever have any run-ins with police officials?
Not for that type of thing. I haven't. I've heard of stories where people have, but
yeah,
Europe's pretty free for it. You get quite a lot of hitchhikers around Europe.
Yeah,
sure.
I was going to say, I think hitchhiking culture in Europe is a lot different than in the US.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard that it's going to be pretty hard over there.
Well, yeah, it really can be. Nobody stops for it, especially where we're at in Iowa. Nobody really stops for anyone. You might get. I've heard, and I could be completely off base about this, but I've heard semi-drivers sometimes are more likely to stop for someone, but not necessarily. I don't know that it's any more likely a case.
You see people every now and then, but it's not very common.
Right. More often you'll see somebody trying to hitchhike because their car ran out of gas and they're like, I just need a lift up to the next gas station so that I can try and get a lift back to get my car running again. That's
not someone going 300 kilometers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Everything here is so much more spread out. So you're not asking for a 20-minute ride. You're asking for a 3-hour ride.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very fast.
I would think that there would be more options for hitchhiking along the coasts where there are more cities populated, but at that point, then there's a lot more public transportation that people will be trying. That's less expensive and less of a hassle than trying to find a ride from someone that you don't know. But interesting stuff. Very cool. I want to move on to kind of this last talking point here. But what advice do you have for people who are looking to do hitchhiking in Europe or just kind of this spontaneous travel? Maybe advice for both because they're very
they're both
topics.
Quite separate. Spontaneous is pretty much in the name, really. I know it can be like nerve wracking and very like daunting. Just get up and do something, but it's going to be the best experience you ever have. Like majority of people that I've met, once they actually jump up and just say, right, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Then they don't really look back, and I haven't met anyone that said they've regretted it yet. The best thing I would say, obviously, you're still going to have to book the flights if you're flying out to start somewhere. So even if it's just a £50 flight from London to Slovenia or Germany, just a one way, you will just be like, I'm in this other country, I've got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So with the whole spontaneous thing, naturally human beings gonna figure it out and gonna have to sort something when they're out there. So
put yourself in a sink or swim situation, and then really force yourself to swim.
Pretty much. Like you can't really get much more spontaneous than yourself and leaving.
Yep.
The hitchhiking, there would be, if you haven't done it before, I would suggest finding someone to do it with. I use on Facebook. There's loads of hitchhiking groups, which you put down your route or where you want to go, all that. And the majority of the time, you'll get someone saying, "Oh, I can meet you at your second stop, your second city." Or,
sure.
I can meet you right at the beginning. May never have met them. Like have these Skype conversations, whatever, get to know each other, meet out there, and then you're hitchhiking with someone. Especially, I've had a few like females that will say, "Should they travel?" And in my experience, or what I've been told, females get there a lot quicker than males.
Should they hitchhike? You're saying?
Yeah, if a female hitchhikes on their own, I know why people will say, "Oh yeah, travel in twos," but that's just personal preference.
Right. That's interesting. I didn't realize that there were Facebook groups for that, and you said there was a wiki.
HitchWiki.
Yeah, HitchWiki.
Yeah.
That's super cool because that makes the whole notion less scary to me. That there's
well, then you know the name of the person and their profile.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It sounds similar to couch surfing at that point, where you just get to go hang out at a stranger's house, but there's a point of contact. You have the opportunity to get to meet somebody beforehand. There's some sort of paper trail in case they get weird, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's that's a really cool
you
resource.
can find people to travel with through that.
Yeah, and I think if I remember right, in Germany there are even some websites where you can essentially book car shares in advance.
Yeah, there's BlaBlaCar. That's one.
Yeah, blah blah.
It's like what €7 if you're out there to go so far. If someone else is going there, or whatever price they put down, and then it's kind of like it's a bit like Uber, I would say, more than a taxi.
Oh, sure.
But it's like I'm already going from wherever.
Yeah, they're already doing that
Hamburg
route. So
to Frankfurt.
Car share,
Who wants to come with me? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, this was awesome. Before we close everything up, why don't you spend a little bit of time just sharing with our listeners how they can find you, where they can learn more about your travels and your adventures, and follow you on social media, etc.
So on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, it's all Life is a Dream 01. And then on my blog is Endless Travel, endlesstravel.weebly.com. And YouTube is just Lyam Hitchens.
Super cool.
The easiest way to search for it. So.
Where's your most regular content? Is it on your blog or is it via YouTube?
YouTube will be the most regular.
Well, and we can link to all of his stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely include links in the show notes. So.
Yeah. Vlogs are mainly once a week. I want to get more up, and then I'm trying to do the video editing takes a lot of my time.
I completely understand. I spend a lot of time editing video as well, and that is just a painstaking process. But usually really worth it, especially with travel videos. You get some really cool stuff there. So
yeah, definitely.
Super cool. Well, that's our show. As always, we ask that you leave any questions you have in the comments section below, or if you have a specific question, feel free to email us directly or connect with us on social media. Our email address is kaylaandsilas@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest by searching Kayla and Silas. You can also find us on iTunes. And if you want to leave us a review, that would be awesome because it helps people find our show. Once again,
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Silas, wishing you luck with your upcoming adventures. Thanks, Lyam.
Thanks, Lyam.
Cheers.